lead us through that. And I'm sure she has some fantastic questions or comments planned. So at this point, I'll hand it off to her to guide us through that portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I have a list of 10 questions, and I would take the first volunteer to answer the first question.
I'll go, Maha.
Okay.
Maha, before you give the question, can you just tell me how to pronounce that word of the day again?
Okay, it's just the way you write it. Vicissitude.
Vicissitude. Okay. Did I say it right? Vicissitude?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go ahead. I'll pick number 7.
Number 7. All right. Okay, Steve. Are you an introvert or extrovert? And if you could choose, what would you be?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master and fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guest. Well, that's an easy question to answer. Am I an introvert or extrovert? And I'm an introvert. But there's been a lot of vicissitude in my life. When let me just give you some background on this. My grandfather, never met my great-grandfather, but my grandfather on my dad's side hardly talked. And my dad hardly talked. Although my dad's a teacher, he loved to teach, but as far as making conversation, he hardly talked. And of my family, we had 7 kids in our family. I was just like my dad, so I did not talk much. But my dad was gifted in math. His dad was gifted in math, and I think I was gifted in math too. So it just kind of the way I was. But when I saw Toastmasters being started at Ford, I thought, oh, that sounds like something that would help me. So I joined, and I was only in Toastmasters maybe a month, maybe it was 2 months, and somebody came to me and says, Steve, what's going on? Your whole personality changed. Well, my whole personality did not change. It was just that I was no longer freezing up when someone would ask a question in the meeting. So I would just answer. And that was not from doing work, really. That was just from participating in table topics. So, but to answer your question, which I prefer to be an extrovert, because then you're more interested in other people beside yourself. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Steve. Who would go for the second question?
I'll go.
Okay, Glennis, 1 through 10, except 7.
Number 1.
All right, Glennis, tell us who is your role model in life and why?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. I've been asked who is my role model and why. And I laugh because I don't really have one. I know that sounds strange, but over the years, people always ask, well, who's your role model? Who do you like to emulate? And honestly, I think there's aspects of most people that I know, qualities that I like, and I like to possess those qualities, but there's no one person. I think of it as a composite. And when I think of that, I watched a movie the other night, and it was based on a true story, but I was a little disappointed to find that one of the star characters didn't actually exist. They were a composite of different people that had that experience. But the story was so moving that I thought, man, that person didn't actually live. But the thing is, that person did live. It just wasn't that one individual. It was aspects of different people that made up the story. And that's what I like to think. I don't have one role model, but there a lot of different people in my life that have affected me and impacted my life. And I like to take bits and pieces of their personality and emulate those. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Glynis. And I agree with you. I think it's a good idea to take the qualities from different people. And back to you, Steve. Introverts can be also very interesting. It's just that we have to make that interest come out and be revealed to others, I think.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah, very good.
All right, moving on. Another volunteer.
I can volunteer, although somebody has to remind me what the time limit is.
The time limit is 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, and between one and 2 minutes for the table topics.
Okay.
Okay, Edgar, choose a number between 1 and 10, but not 7 and not 1.
4.
Number 4. What is your favorite book and why? Or one of your favorite books?
Okay. That is a really bad question for me because I don't read too much like interesting books. I mostly read technical books, textbooks. I'm very interested in a wide variety of topics, and most of them tend to be in the realm of engineering, science, and one of the problems that I have is that I like learning a wide variety of topics, and sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming. So I tend to collect a lot of technical textbooks in physics, mathematics, engineering, and recently programming. I don't have a favorite book, but one book that I've been spending a lot of time is one that is related to my interest in science and my hobby of music. And it is called The Mathematics of Music. And the reason why I like this book is because it describes music in mathematical terms. And I've always been interested in mathematics since a young child, and I've been recently practicing music as a way to spend time outside of work, and having the two topics within one same book, it's an ideal way to spend my time outside of work. So I've learned a lot of different interesting relationships between mathematics and music, and how mathematics has aided in the development of modern, in the way that we describe music in modern terms. And there's a lot of rich history behind it, and a lot of important practical information, some not so practical. And in general, it just satisfies my curiosity for understanding and viewing music from a different perspective. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Edgar. Thank you for sharing this book with us, The Mathematics of Music. I'm sure people who have an interest in music would be interested in picking it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I need another volunteer, please.
Okay, I'm not going to be shy, and I will take number 3.
Okay, Stacy. Stacy, if you were to meet a celebrity, who would it be and why?
Wow, great question. First, before I begin, it is great to be back at a meeting, my fellow credible communicators. Yes. And I'm going to tell you of a celebrity that I actually had the opportunity to meet, and I will never, ever forget it. I think I may have spoken of it at a Toastmaster meeting before. I worked for credit, had the opportunity in the early 2000s to work at the world headquarters on the 8th floor. Had a nice little cubicle that if you shifted your face to the left, you could look past the pillar and actually look out the window and see the Southfield Freeway. And one day, working on the 8th floor, is a great gang of us, Treasury personnel, but an announcement came out that Muhammad Ali was going to come to world headquarters to accept some money for one of his charities. And it was to be between, I don't know, 11:30 and 12 o'clock. But it was very interesting. I had the opportunity to go downstairs. I mean, it was like a vicissitude moment of go from having bad luck to good luck. In fact, the security guard told me, he said, hey, why don't you stand over here? Because Muhammad Ali is going to walk this way on this way to where he's going. So let me hurry and just let you know this moment. Muhammad Ali is walking through. He's in his late 50s, perhaps 60s, huge, 6 feet so. And he walks up to me personally and he starts shadowing with me. Of all people, I was stung. But that was the moment. If I had to ask for an opportunity to meet a great celebrity, it would have been Muhammad Ali, and it actually happened. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Stacy. What an opportunity. Great opportunity, really. I think a lot of us would have liked to be in your shoes, at least for myself. Okay, moving on. Another volunteer?
I can go.
Okay, Safa. Safa, please choose between 2, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10.
6.
Number 6. Should women be leaders?
Table Topic Master, and I was asked if women should be leaders. I do have a mixed feelings about this, but I'm leaning more towards yes, because I'm going to go back to one of the questions that was asked is, who is your role model? Growing up, I was taught about an amazing figure in my life, and she's actually a religious figure. Her name is Sayyidah Khadija, and she was actually one of the most wealthiest women back in the Islamic history, and she is one of the few, actually one of the first women that supported Islam, and she was known among the community back then as a powerful woman. And during that time, it was mostly women were not known out there. They were reserved. They were not allowed to be out there in the world due to their culture. But she was one of the few women that actually led, and she was a great role model to many. Because of her, because of what my mom taught me about her, and it made me the strong woman that I am now, because my mom taught me that any woman is able to do anything in this world as long as she has a passion for it. And as long as she has the people that support them in their world. How many time I have left? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. You're muted, Maha.
10, you get 10 more seconds.
Okay.
Sorry,
So,
I was on mute.
oh, thank you. Sorry, guys. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Okay, you could finish.
Thank you, Safa. I am also a big fan of Lady Khadija. She was a woman beyond her time, for sure. Okay, another volunteer.
Okay, what do we have left?
Shiho, you have number 2, 8, 9, and 10.
2.
Shiho, is money necessary for happiness?
Madam Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmaster, welcome guests. The question is money necessary or wanted or whatever way you want to put it for happiness? It all depends on individual when it comes to that. Some people cherish what they want to cherish. Some people choose to pick in life what you want to value most. Individual might value, or I might put it, idolize something. We all idolize something in our life, whether you like it or not, one thing or the other. Some might be money, some might be position, some might be cars. It all depends. But back to the question, is money necessary for happiness? In my opinion, I'll say no, because looking back, I've seen a lot of things that happen. You don't have to go back to see people that have won the lottery over the years that they, I think a recent study that was done that a lot of them are miserable today, and they are not what they used to be when it comes to that, because of the money did not necessarily bring what they were hoping for. And looking at a lot of people that have been famous and rich today also, not necessarily. Again, looking at, was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago, there's this CNN Anthony Bourdain, is, if that's his name. He has everything. He was doing well, but he committed suicide. So to me, money is not necessarily for happiness. At the same time, we need money to do necessary things in life, and you don't need to idolize money, but we need money to live in the life we live. Back to you, Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Shehu. I agree with you. Money is not necessary for happiness. That's our opinions. Briefly, there is a study on this actually, and they showed that money is needed for happiness, and there's a ceiling effect to it, and that number is $70,000 per year. So remember that number, 70,000. And you can actually, there's a TED Talk on this. You can watch it.
Maha, is that 70,000 for an individual or
for a family?
For a family, yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
I don't think they did the random sampling pretty well. If that's just my opinion.
Okay. Do we still have time for more, or are we done?
I think we can probably squeeze in one more if someone's really itching to do a table topic. So
okay.
I'll make it quick. I'll go.
Okay, Russ. Choose please between 8, 9, and 10.
I'll go with 10.
Question number 10. How do you keep a good friend?
Madam Table Topic Master, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. This was very interesting question. How do you keep a good friend? Back when I was working initially, I learned about a program, and even before that, my dad had taught me about Dale Carnegie. And one of the books that he had was How to Win Friends and Influence People. And concepts presented over there were pretty basic in terms of what you would normally use in common sense, but most people don't practice common sense. So that outlined some of the things. And one of the things about Dale Carnegie, interesting story, he was like a traveling Bible salesman that was trying to make a living. And he had these stories about where he used to get kicked out and chased by dogs and all those things, and just keeping the positive attitude. And that's one component, is always having a positive attitude, because your friends are not always going to do things that you like. And based on all the vicissitude of events that happen, there are going to be not good moments. So being positive is one thing. And the second thing is being supportive, being there for them in their time of need. And that's really what a true friend is about. It's about making sacrifice for not just time, but emotional energy mostly, and sometimes even financial, but mostly emotional energy to provide for them in their time of need. And the third thing that I would say is what we've already talked about in some of the other things is patience and some of the items that, depending on the friends that you have, and then it also, not all friends are worth keeping. So that's the other interesting aspect of it. I mean, you have to have patience, but then you have to realize what the friends have to offer you for their friendship and what you have to offer in return. So the best way to keep your friends is, first of all, pick the right ones, and second of all, be there for them in their time of need. Be humble in terms of your expectations from them, and then when there's a need, be patient with them and be there for them. So I would say those are the three things that would help you keep friends. And I'm Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Russ. I guess you picked the right question since you read a whole book on this. It's a great book. I haven't read it, but I heard about it so much. How to Make Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Thank you, everyone. And back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Maha. Those are very interesting questions. And I think that's a fun part of the meeting, is to get everyone's perspective on these varied topics. So with that, let's go on to the next portion here, which is the general evaluation of the meeting.